Howdy, folks. Welcome to another episode of FinOps for Finance. Today, I'm joined by Diana Lescano. I came across Diana on LinkedIn. She's got some really interesting posts, and even the way they're structured and visually very appealing and interesting around FinOps. So we reached out to Diana, asked her to come on and just help give people a flavor for how we can kind of maximize our communication skills to help us break into FinOps and talk a little bit about mentorship as well. So I'll hand over to Diana to talk about her origin story and how she actually moved into the world of FinOps.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. So my origin story is quite different, but I'm sure that many people will be able to relate to it. I started in a call center, which is where everything kind of started. Yes, I have a banking background, but I was a teller. I didn't really get that deep into banking. But I was always in customer service in some sort. So whether it was working in what was then called Flextronics, which were people that worked on phones and used to repair them. That was parts of what I did historically. And, going all the way to retail and all of that, I feel like all of us have similar stories in that concept of our younger years of trying to figure out what do we want to do with our lives. And from there, I ended up following a manager of mine from the call center that I worked in to a company that was kind of a startup, but they worked a lot with government contracts. They were very heavily involved in Amazon Cloud, and they saw my LinkedIn, and the person that reached out to me is, hey, I think we have a position that you would be great for that your previous manager recommended you. And I said, I looked at their careers and I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a developer. I have no idea what this AWS is and no context whatsoever. And he said, no. We have something that we haven't posted on our careers page. It's around cost and looking at spreadsheets. And I'm like, okay. I've looked at spreadsheets before. I'm like, why not? We'll interview. We'll figure it out. Um, so this gentleman sent me a very rough job description and said, this is kind of what we're looking for. You need to look at spreadsheets or look at invoices and help customers understand them. And I'm like, well, like this seems like pretty simple, easy. Like, who can't look at an invoice and tell you how to read it? So I said, okay, I'll try. So I interviewed with him officially. And it went well to where I then interviewed with the CEO and COO. And it was a pretty casual interview. I was in a suit and they were in t-shirts and slacks. Uh, so I was,
Back in the day of in-person interviews as well, like as opposed to remote ones.
yes.
So yeah, very, very different time.
Oh, very much. It took me 2 hours to get to the location for my interview. Um, so it was interesting. I'll never forget this. During the interview, they asked really quick, they said, can you tell us a joke? And I'm like, who says this during an interview? Okay. So I told a blonde joke. It was very PG rated. It was something that I remembered from elementary school. Uh, because the one that was in my head would have not been work
Yeah.
appropriate. Uh, so
They generally be the ones that spring to mind first, yeah, or
correct.
not PG.
And they ended up calling me back 4 hours later and said, we'd love to bring you on board. And I said, what on earth? Like, are these people crazy? I have no background in this AWS thing whatsoever. I'm like, yes, do I shop on Amazon? Absolutely. Do I know what AWS is? No. Um, but they ended up bringing me on, and that's kind of where my footing started with what was then not called FinOps. It was typically cost analyst or cloud admin. So typically, it was under those guidelines. And I started and I ended up, they moved me into management in 3 months, and I had a team of people. And the guy that he and I were brought on at the exact same day, training in person again, was everything was in person. I watched YouTube videos. I went to a cloud guru. I used Udemy. All of these things that were available back then. And then from there, they threw me into onto a government project, and I was like, oh boy, I really am scared about this. I wasn't. I had been there maybe 6 months, and this work could also be done remote. So if I wanted to go into the office, I could, or if I wanted to stay home, I could. And they were pretty flexible with that. And that the government project was really where I learned my technical skills. They were short staffed. They needed help. I had no idea what I was doing. So one of my colleagues often stayed after work with me, or we would practice on lunch breaks. He had a whiteboard similar to a teacher in a classroom with a chalkboard, and he would go through everything that was part of these run books and part of these scripts. And I would ask the quote unquote dumb questions that I thought were dumb questions. And he's like, no, it's not a dumb question. It's a question. And that's where I really got my footing into the world of FinOps and understanding the cost component along with engineers, and why engineers don't really think about cost when they're deploying something. And I learned about that as well, and how to talk to them.
But that's very, very interesting. I suppose what kind of resonates a lot there is because obviously it's a different world now because the cloud is a lot more mature now than it was then. But
Very
I
much.
suppose something that's quite universal is like your willingness to do the learnings at lunchtime, to stay back of an evening, to put in the graft. Because I suppose anyone that's looking to learn a skill or make a career pivot or move up, it does, what do they say? Like everyone sees the result, they don't see the training, don't want the result, they don't necessarily want the
Oh,
the
yes.
work that goes with it. So it's those that mindset, I suppose, to put in those extra hours here and there, and to be to be comfortable not knowing it all, to be like ask
Hmm.
the silly question and having that understanding. So that's, I suppose that's very like, I suppose things are more mature now, but that skill is universal, and that'll apply pre and post AI or
Oh,
whatever happens.
absolutely. Is training and learning something and crashing stuff fun? No, it's not. But do you get to see the beginning stages of something of, I hardly knew this, and now considered expert in whatever it is. And kind of seeing where you started to where you've ended, or are going, is it's that for me is fun. Is it stressful? Absolutely. Were there times where I felt like hitting my head against a wall? Absolutely. But I had great people around me, that would, that support network, that community of keep going, you're doing great. It's okay to not know something. And they made it okay, because I was very scared. I was young, and the mindset of not knowing something is, am I going to get fired for not knowing this? And I my mentor, uh long time ago, it was supposed to be an hour one-on-one session. It turned into 3 hours of me crying because I was so afraid that I was going to be fired because I didn't know something. And she told me it's absolutely okay to not know something. You don't have to know everything at the very beginning. You're still young, you're still learning. And even when she said, even when you're my age, you're still learning. And it's okay to not know everything as long as you're trying and doing your best. And that resonated and stuck with me of whenever I have hard moments now, I just think back, okay, it's okay to not know something. Let me communicate, hey, let me get back to you on that. Let me look into that. And that simple phrase to customers, it gives them that uh understanding that you may not know the answer right then and there, but you will do your best to figure it out or bring in somebody that will.
Because I suppose people aren't aren't idiots. Like they'll, if you try and fob them off with an answer or try and give them a load of BS, you can lose all credibility. Like you get a lot more credibility by holding your hand up, being like, "I don't actually know, but I'll
Hmm.
figure it out," as opposed to trying to muddle your way, talk for 5 minutes and not really say anything. You're just
Yes.
your stock goes down all that time. So, I think something like that comes with, like say, learning on the job, like being not necessarily cut out, but trying it and being burned, or it's a skill that you need that confidence to come out over time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I suppose communication, especially in FinOps and anything like that, is because I suppose as human beings, that's how does anyone know what we're either doing, have done, or want to do?
Mhm.
It's kind of a little bit of a superpower. And when I see your content on LinkedIn and the kind of information you'd be putting out there, the branding of it, everything like that is very, very slick and very, very clean. What kind of advice would you have to people to kind of develop their communication skills so that they can, I suppose, let people know what they want or kind of progress? Any
Sure.
guidance there?
Yeah. I'd say start with your network. Um, that's what I did years ago. I raised my hand to my manager and and said, I need help communicating with people. While I had the technical depth, I really struggled being able to bring it up to the top. I was always down in the weeds with everything. And even talking to her, I struggled to, hey, okay, bring it back a little bit. High level. What is high level? I'm like, I don't know how to give you high level. Um, so I worked with her. I worked with a coaching company that I would deliver presentations to them, and making yourself uncomfortable was helpful. I still do this. I will make myself uncomfortable in order to learn how to be comfortable. Um, I'm not sure. There was some people at the most recent FinOps X. I had created an image of myself that
I,
I carried around like a flag.
yeah, I'd seen that, or I didn't know you at the time. I was like, that's pretty clever.
But
Um,
that was really uncomfortable for me because I knew what would happen. I knew it would get people, strangers, stranger danger,
yeah, yeah.
coming up to me and talking to me of why did you do this, or who, like, is there a reason, or who are you? But I was doing it because I am working on my presentation skills, and doing things like this, podcasts. I'm an introvert. I am very happy being an introvert. But reaching out to my network of, hey guys, what do you think about this? Or can you help me work through this idea? That's really, it's your friends are the people that are going to be there for you and that understand. And honestly, the FinOps community, it doesn't matter whom you are, even if you don't know the person. I have people that will reach out to me of, hey, I'm trying to break into FinOps. Can you help me? Absolutely. I would love to help you. have you gone to the FinOps website and have you looked at, the methodology or the free intro course? What's your understanding on that? Help me help you.
Yeah. Because
My
someone
neighbor
needs to meet you halfway as well. They can't just be, oh, help me break into FinOps.
for
What do
me.
you do is
Yeah.
like, well, you you need to do some of the work as well. Like we're saying, like there's a training ground, and like it's not just going to be handed to you on a plate because you need to meet someone halfway.
Oh, absolutely. My neighbor, whom doesn't do anything with FinOps, and she will likely see this because I just added her on LinkedIn. So I hope she sees this. I won't say her name, but she's currently working for a roofing company and obviously very much deals with customers all the time, and deals with numbers and invoicing and all of those types of things. She's breaking into FinOps as well. I lent her my FinOps book the other day. So I'm curious as she starts to read that when she text messages me of, "Hey, what's this?" or "Explain this." But honestly, she's quick. Uh, so I don't think there will be a lot of those, but I'm definitely going to test her uh, afterwards. And
A future podcast guest.
absolutely, absolutely, that would be awesome. I mean, you brought on Alexa to your podcast, and oops, I accidentally just triggered my Amazon device that is named that. Um, but you brought her on, and she was an English teacher at a high school. God bless her patience, but she was an English teacher at high school. And all she did is she worked with the network, she worked with the FinOps community, and she created her brand of, "Hey, I'm Alexa, I'm trying to break in." I did it again. I'm gonna say her nickname because that feels so long triggering. um but hey, I'm Lexi, and I'm trying to break into FinOps, and I'm an English teacher, and this is the training and everything I have done up to this moment. So again, she was reaching out to her network. She's doing the training. There are free trainings. Please do the free trainings. If you're not really sure what you want to do, free training is totally fine. YouTube has so much content nowadays. Back then, not so much. Nowadays, it's flooded with everything FinOps or Amazon or Google or Azure, Oracle, whatever. It's there.
So it's just about kind of putting, I suppose, yourself out there, doing the initial bit, kind of like try before you buy. Because if you've done the initial pieces, it'll either spark with you and you're like, okay, I've got a natural bit of an interest in this. I'm comfortable with the base concepts of it, and then I can kind of go from there,
Absolutely.
which is quite powerful. And I suppose one point that you mentioned there is about mentorship, and having that mentor to kind of guide you and help, like having someone who's a bit further on in their career journey where you can be like, look, I don't know what's going on here, or and they'd have been there before. I'd be interested in terms of how do you go, how have you, in your experience, gone about getting a mentor, or what advice? Because I suppose you might be getting a couple of LinkedIn messages after this, being like, "Can you be my
Sure.
mentor, please, Diana?" Um, other than like cold calling, or like how might one go about doing something like that?
Well, funny enough, cold calling has absolutely happened to me. And I'm absolutely fine with that. So what my very first mentee started years ago when I joined that company from the call center. This was a young girl that um, started with the company. She didn't really know. She had the technical expertise, but I was working with her on the communication aspect, is finding the confidence in her voice and empowering her to be able to speak up of, "No, that's incorrect. Let me show you the correct way to do that." and finding that. I'll never forget when I found out that I was pronouncing her first name incorrectly. I was like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, well, I just didn't want to, start an argument. I was like, that would never start an argument. That's just respect. And so we were on a call with our manager at the time, one of the directors, and he said her name incorrectly. I said, no, 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 no. Let me correct this now because I know she's not going to. That's not how you pronounce her name. And that's kind of how it started, of just finding your voice and someone to kind of stick up for you. Uh, and if you're quiet like she was. Uh, Lexi was introduced to me at I met her at FinOps Next this year in San Diego, and I am so very grateful for that introduction. I absolutely love her. She is awesome, and I brought her into another mentorship that I have with that I actually start connected with this person through the FinOps Foundation. Um, FinOps Foundation does have a mentorship program, and I Regina made the perfect connection between me and this person. Her and I connect so well together. And so we have a group chat that all of us
Okay.
ping ideas back and forth between Lexi and Karen. We all talk to each other. And then other people of, hey, Diana, I'm looking for a job, or I saw your posts, can you help me out? Do you know of anything? I love making those introductions. If recruiters reach out to me of, no, I'm not interested, but I know somebody that would be a great fit for this role. And it's just, if you see my posts on LinkedIn, just reach out to me, make a comment on them. I am on LinkedIn all the time, obviously, because I'm posting a lot. So I'm happy to get those cold calls, if you will. It's fun. I enjoy watching people grow.
I suppose you get a lot out of it yourself as well because you're seeing it from a different perspective. And as the market shifts and moves, like I suppose anyone entering the market now, they've got the elephant in the room of AI and everything like that. So it's like, okay, someone new now, because I suppose breaking into FinOps now versus when you started, it's a very, very different place. So it kind of
That's
keeps kind of current almost because you're aware of the current challenges and I suppose what's out there and what
Oh,
people are
yeah,
looking for.
that's a lot of times the conversations between me and other individuals is what will spark my articles on LinkedIn. Um, because it's, oh, I didn't even realize that, this is an issue that people struggle with of, okay, great. I will, dedicate a week to this or 2 weeks. Um, and that's really helpful. It's not just them learning from me. It's me learning from them. It's truly a partnership type of mindset.
Because I think it was the podcast I was listening to this morning was the Cloudcast. They do regular updates, but one of the hosts was talking about his daughter she's picking her major, or I don't know what you call it in the US, but her and her friends are all talking about what do we major in because is AI going to take this job? Is it going to take that job? So he's seeing it from an entirely different perspective than he does as an established professional. So it's always good to have a different point of view at a problem and bring your context to it as well as that's two heads are better than one, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. I said that to the girls FinOps chat yesterday,
Yeah.
actually. I said this is exactly why three heads are better than one.
Yeah. The hive mind.
Oh, absolutely.
And I suppose for anyone so looking to move to break into FinOps, like the clear communication skills is vital and no matter what someone is working on at the minute, that's something they can start implementing now. I suppose the thing that's difficult is when you're in school, you're told to write everything you know about a subject, and then you go to work and you're like, I just want to know the absolute bare minimum. I don't want to. So it's kind of shifting that mindset. The mentorship, find someone who can kind of stick up for you, and yeah, and you can bounce ideas off, or even have a gripe or and kind of understand it. Outside of the and trying the, I suppose, the free resources that are available in FinOps, trying it out. Is there any other kind of pieces that you think might be helpful for someone from non-technical to get started in this day and age?
Sure. Aside, it's truly community. Um, LinkedIn, while the search side of LinkedIn has kind of changed in the past few months, if you type in hashtag or pound, I grew up in the pound era, but hashtag FinOps, you're going to find a ton of people that are in that community, and just reach out to them. That's truly where it is the community aspect. If you're in a FinOps position, check the guidelines. I know that they're constantly evolving, but check the guidelines and determine if you're able to join the FinOps Foundation and start just probing questions there. Join the community calls. I regularly have now started hosting a social meetup in Colorado, because there's a lot of people here in Colorado, but there was no meetup for us because we don't really fall in Midwest and we don't really fall in the West. We are purely mountain. Uh, so it's, why don't we start something? And I pinged this off a few people when I was at FinOps X, and then talked with a few people since then. That's a great idea. I would love to meet more FinOps people around me. So just searching for and finding those little events, those social get-togethers, the virtual meetups. It's truly about the community and networking and making that first uncomfortable, hey, I'm new, help.
Yeah, and once you've done
Totally
that
okay.
first step, it's kind of the next step is easier. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it's very daunting. It's like getting ready for an interview, like say back in the day of in-person interviews. You're like,
Oh,
you kind
yeah.
of have to psych yourself up, and it's almost that level of prep. But once you're in the flow, like say people are happy to help because we've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. I still reach out to one of my old clients years ago. He and I are just good friends at this point. Um, but it's, hey, do you know anyone that does this? I'm looking, for this person, and then he's got his network. I've got my network. So it's everyone just working together.
That sounds great, Diana. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. If people want to get in touch and hit you up with a load of mentorship requests, what's the best way that they can catch you?
Truly on LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm always on LinkedIn. I have it on my phone. It's always pulled up on my laptop. So I'm always around, and I'm pretty quick to respond. Of course, if I'm on my motorcycle, it might be a little bit.
Mhm.
Those are my me days. But from there, yeah, LinkedIn is the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Brilliant. I'll put the link in the description so
Awesome.
folk can get in touch. Thanks again. Really appreciate it.